here at Bunda Marina, Fiji, and Makai's getting hauled out for the second time in 12 months. Last time was in Puerto Vallarta, and there she is in the travel lift. She's gonna have her bottom cleaned, high pressure washed before we go to New Zealand. It's a requirement in New Zealand that the bottom be clean. So here we go, and she needed it anyway. I was getting tired of diving on the boat. All right, there's one side done. Okay, there it is. All pressure washed and clean. The hull is nice and clean. All right, we ready? Okay, I'm getting ready for tomorrow's passage to New Zealand, and I'll be checking the weather regularly up until the departure time, and from then on, you know, a couple of times or once a day after that. So I'm going to go ahead and download grid files, show you what this is all about. There we are. We'll click on a couple of flags. These barbs that are showing up on the screen are showing the wind direction. Make sure I pick the right file. Open. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to run the weather routing program. Okay, that's better. I went ahead and closed the door. So we're going to go ahead now and select compute right here. And there it's running the cyclone cache, cyclone season, and there it is. It's now computing my route. And it's building a route day by day. Start as if I were to leave today. I'll be leaving tomorrow, so it'll be 24 hours later. But it's showing you day by day as the weather changes, which route I should take to get to this red X. Wednesday night, here's Thursday night. You can see the wind is still flowing nicely down. This low pressure is sitting right across here. It's flowing down. Here is, that's Thursday. This is Thursday night. And again, quite strong. Quite strong here off of New Zealand. 58 knots blowing that way as the peak winds. All right, well, I just left Bunda Marina. It's right behind me, and kind of a cool thing, I just passed that red catamaran Vela, and that catamaran is owned by John Florence. He's a surfer, real famous surfer. And I thought, oh, that's cool. There's this cat. I wonder if he's banging around Bunda Marina. Just arrived today, so I didn't have a chance to run into him, but I thought that was cool. Anyway, it got out of the marina, departed at exactly 12:11 p.m. on a Monday. So I'm motoring right now. I'm gonna get the sails. I got enough wind. I think I got enough wind to sail. I got 10 knots on the beam. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put up full sails, and why burn the diesel? We may need it later. So we're underway. Next stop, Opua, New Zealand. Okay, we are at the end of day one. We are starting day two on the passage to New Zealand. We've done 122 nautical miles yesterday, which really isn't bad considering we had no wind for 8 or 9 hours of passage. I had to motor, and I motored slowly right around the 4.5 knot range on motoring. And so then last night, I guess about 11 o'clock, the wind started picking up as we got away from the islands far enough. I think that's really all it was. And we've been in good wind. We've had up to 22 knots and mostly a broad reach. The boat is just sailing beautiful right now. We've got 15, 16 knots, and we're doing 6 knots over the ground. When we had 20 knots, I was just flying under just the stay sail and a reefed mainsail, and I was doing 7 knots, sometimes touching 8 over the ground. It's, you know, surfing a little bit, but it's mainly the waves are beam on. So the boat is just sailing beautifully. I mean, just beautifully. And the Cape Horn wind vane is just doing a bang-up job keeping us on course. I mean, it's just sailing so well. Well, we are nearing the end of day 2, and we've done really good today. Actually, I think I'm going to slow the boat down a little bit. We're riding really well, but I'm regularly over 7 knots. I'm at 7.1, 7.2, and dropping down into the low 6s. And I want to keep it below 7 knots because I will get downrange too soon. There's a low pressure area down there, and I don't want to get down. I want that to pass by New Zealand, and if I keep 7 knots or above, I will actually get there too soon. I mean, this is crazy. The boat is sailing so well. I've got a reefed jib, a stay sail up, and a reefed main, and I'm running on a broad reach with about 20 knots of wind. So I'll show you the conditions out there. The swell's come up a little bit. It's gotten a little bigger. Okay, that's our current conditions. We had a great night. I mean, man, we are clipping along, really going fast. I think we're gonna have the biggest day that I've ever had. Looks like it's gonna be 150 miles. I'm not sure, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's just clipping along. I had to reduce sail a little bit. The wind's come up. We're now running around 23 to 25 knots, but we're running. I mean, it's like behind us, and the boat is just steering beautifully. I mean, everything, and the sea state's not that bad considering, you know, the wind. We just don't have a lot of swell, so it's wind chop. The boat is just handling this beautiful. So let me give you a look. We are officially in day 3, and we did 141 point something, I think 141.2 or 0.6 nautical miles yesterday, which is not bad. That's not bad at all. I put up a little bit more sail because the wind has dropped. We're seeing 14 to 17 knots right now, as opposed to the 22 to 25 that we had earlier. So I put up a little bit more, just a little bit more main, and it kind of makes all the difference in the world. We're currently making about 6 knots through the water and 6 knots over ground. So I really don't have any tail current with me. I thought I did, but no. So yeah, if we had a little bit of a tail current pushing us along, it'd be even better. Looks like I might get some rain, so I got to get ready for some squalls. Look over here. Out that way. You see a rainy look on the horizon. And even out this way a little bit. Some clouds, and that one doesn't look like it's gonna rain. That one over there sure does. It does look like there may be some severe weather ahead. That's what they've been saying. Although the grid files that I'm downloading are not telling me it's going to be severe, but looking at the cloud formations, not the lower level stuff, but the upper level stuff, I'm seeing some cirrus blowing in like this way. It's indicating that there is some storm activity to the south, and that's exactly what Gulf Harbor Radio said last night. Okay, another day in the books. What is this, day? I'm really tired. Day 4, I think, the beginning of day 4. We just passed our noon position, and last night was one hell of a night, man. We had gale conditions again. I don't know, man. I just seem to always find myself into gale conditions. Well, not always, but this particular passage, I knew it was more of a possibility than any others. And the forecast turned bad, and yeah, we had 35 knots of wind last night. It didn't last long, mostly in the high 20s, 27, 30, but it got up to 35 at one point. And then the wind vane wouldn't steer anymore, and I couldn't figure out why. And I went outside, and in a driving rain and just torrential rain and blowing wind to try to set the wind vane, and I could not get the boat to steer. Nothing I could do. The electric autopilot will not steer in that kind of a sea state. It's just too rough. So I just hove to. I mean, I had no choice but to heave to. Something was wrong. The the set line on the wind vane was pulling out too far. It was too long. Something broke. Well, this morning when the sun came up, I went and looked underneath where the quadrant's at, and down below, and sure enough, a fair lead had ripped out of the oak that it was screwed into. So that made the wind vane not able to steer in one direction. One side was okay, but the other direction it wouldn't steer. And that's why I couldn't get the boat under control. So I found some repair parts here, rigged it up to where I could repair it. But then I thought, hey, wait a second, since it was a fair lead and not a moving part where the line moves back and forth, it's just a dead end, I can go ahead and run it through the anchor point for the block. There's a block in there where the one of the pulleys that controls the wind vane. I can run it through that anchor point, and it should work. And I did that. Boom. Everything's working great. It's strong. There are no more problems. I'm back underway. But it took most of the morning because of the conditions. I mean, you know, you're out there in driving rain and heavy winds, and the boat's rolling back and forth. Upside down in a lazarette trying to get this thing fixed, and I got it done, and now we're back under full sail. The winds have dropped. I mean, we only got 13 knots now, and it's from a beam reach to a slightly aft of beam. So yeah, we're doing great. We're back up running about 6 knots on course to our destination. Yesterday's run was 109.9 nautical miles, call it 110 nautical miles. Not too bad for being hove to for 4 hours last night. We would have had a much bigger day if we didn't have that the failures. But let's keep our fingers crossed for good conditions. Let me take you outside and show you what's going on. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna keep it kind of inside here because it's raining, not as hard as it was, but it is raining. You can see there's the wind vane. I put the low wind speed paddle back up because it seems to be steering really well. It was quite a night, and the guy on Gulf Harbor Radio that gave us the weather report yesterday evening says that we were going to have spirited conditions, and yeah, that's exactly what we've had. But all is well now, and we're back on course and back underway. So we'll see what happens. Good morning. It is Friday. your Thursday in the States, Friday for me here in New Zealand time zone, and we're motoring. The wind has died, and it was predicted too. The axis of the trough that was sitting right over me passed over last night and has moved east, and the weather routing software I have was telling me that I should be going east, basically to stay in it, because there's going to be some southeasterly winds coming, and it's going to be from the southerly quadrant, so it might be very difficult to sail into to get to New Zealand. I went ahead and decided just to go ahead and motor on ahead rather than chase this to the east, because it was going to take, I would have had to go like over 100 miles east before the southerlies would come through, and the winds were already dying, so I decided not to do it. I've been watching the weather routing software very closely and the predictions to see how accurate they are. Let me get over here. Maybe there you get a better view. The sun's better. To see how accurate the software is, and now I'm starting to gain some confidence in it. The call to go east when it was telling me was the right call. Had I done that, I'd still be sailing. That would be the faster route. But you know, it's okay. I mean, this is all part of it, right? You know, gaining confidence in the stuff you got. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in that weather routing software, but now I'm starting to say, yeah, you know, maybe I'll start following what it tells me to do. Let's see what happens outside. Okay, our current position, 29 degree, no, hang on. Boy, my eyes are getting worse. 28 degrees, 27 minutes south, 176 degrees, 38 minutes east. Let me get a picture. That is our current location. All right, well, seems like the wind now is 21 knots. I think the autopilot kicked off, but I'm not sure. Still making 4.6 knots. We've really rounded up, or the wind has changed. It's now 60 degrees off our bow. Something happened. I better go out and check it. I think the autopilot kicked off. Ugly. Victory at sea. Yeah, I got 22 knots of wind, and we're sailing really hard on the wind. About 60 degrees off the port bow. The boat will sail a steeper angle, but not in these conditions. It just stops. We just hit these pots and potholes and dips and valleys, and you know, it slows down to where we're really not making way. Right now I'm doing about 4.5 to 5 knots, which is not bad. Just under the staysail on the main. There's no way I can put up with the regular jib in this. Good morning. It is Monday, the 17th. Yeah, I think 17th. Let's see. Monday, no, the 14th. Monday the 14th of November. I have been at sea for 7 days. Starting noon today will be day 7. Conditions have been pretty difficult. I mean, it's just a mixed bag. Well, we just had a wave hit really hard. I mean, the cockpit is all wet. The decks are absolutely soaked. But the mind blower is the sail. The main sail is wet all the way up to the spreaders. All the way up to the spreaders, it got wet. So that means when the wave hit, it hit with such force that water shot straight up in the air all the way up to the spreaders. Everything's fine on deck though. You know, I came up by the, oh no, it's down below. And I came up to take a look at the dinghy, make sure it's still secure and it hasn't budged. So life is good.